Try to remember what you had for lunch 11 days ago. Not a guess, the actual meal, the plate, the taste, where you were sitting. You probably can't. Now try last Tuesday. Still blurry. Try yesterday. Maybe you get a flash, maybe you don't. Somewhere between the moment you lived it and right now, that experience disappeared. Not faded. Deleted. Your brain threw it away on purpose. You walked through that day fully conscious. Your eyes were open, your ears worked. You processed thousands of sensory inputs across every waking hour, and your brain looked at almost all of it and said no. Not worth keeping, gone. This is not a flaw. This is not aging. This is not a disease. This is your brain doing exactly what it was built to do, and once you understand why, you will never think about your own memory the same way again. Start with a number. Your brain processes roughly 11 million bits of sensory information every single second. Your conscious mind can handle about 50. That is not a typo. 50 out of 11 million. The rest gets filtered, compressed, or discarded before you ever become aware of it. Neuroscientist Manfred Zimmermann at Heidelberg University calculated this gap decades ago, and no one has seriously disputed it since. The bottleneck is not a bug. It is the entire design. Think of it this way. If your brain saved everything, every texture of every wall you walked past, every background conversation in every coffee shop, every flicker of every screen, you would drown. Not metaphorically. Your ability to think, to decide, to act in the present moment would collapse under the weight of irrelevant data. Your brain deletes most of your life so that you can function inside of it. But the deletion is not random. It follows rules. The first rule is emotional intensity. Your brain tags moments that carry strong emotion, positive or negative, and flags them for long-term storage. A car accident, a first kiss, the phone call that changed everything. These memories stick because your amygdala fires alongside your hippocampus during encoding, essentially stamping the experience with a chemical highlight marker. Neuroscientist James McGaugh at UC Irvine spent decades proving this connection. Inject a stress hormone into a rat after learning, and its memory strengthens. Block that hormone, and the memory fades. Emotion is not a side effect of remembering. Emotion is the reason you remember at all. The second rule is novelty. Your brain pays close attention to anything that breaks a pattern. The first day of a new job, a city you have never visited, a conversation that surprised you. These moments get encoded because your brain treats them as potentially important for survival. A new environment could contain threats. A new person could be an ally or an enemy. Your hippocampus lights up in response to novelty, like a motion detector tripping in a dark room. But here is where it gets uncomfortable. The reverse is also true. The more routine your life becomes, the less your brain bothers to record. Monday blurs into Tuesday. This commute looks like every other commute. This lunch is the same lunch. Your brain scans the incoming data, finds nothing new, and files it under already known. No encoding, no storage, no memory. This is why a 2-week vacation to a foreign country can feel longer in retrospect than 3 months of office work. The vacation was dense with novelty. Every hour contained something your brain had never processed before. The office months were a repeating loop. Your brain kept the template and deleted the copies. Psychologist William James described this over 100 years ago. He called it the telescoping of time. When you look back on a period full of new experiences, it expands. When you look back on a period of repetition, it collapses. You were alive for all of it, but your brain only kept the parts that were different. There is a third rule, and it is the strangest one. Your brain edits memories after the fact. Every time you recall something, the memory becomes temporarily unstable. Your neurons re-encode it, and during that process, the memory can change. Details shift. Emotions get rewritten. Context from the present moment bleeds into the past. Neuroscientist Karim Nader at McGill University demonstrated this in a landmark 2000 study. He showed that reactivated memories require new protein synthesis to be stored again. Block the protein and the memory weakens or vanishes. Remembering is not playback. Remembering is reconstruction, and every reconstruction introduces errors. This means the memories you trust most, the ones you have told and retold, may be the most altered. Each retelling gives your brain another chance to edit. The story of your childhood you have repeated 100 times might be less accurate than a memory you have never spoken out loud. The confident memory is the revised one. The vague memory might be closer to what actually happened. Your brain is not a camera, it is not a hard drive, it is a storyteller with an agenda. And the agenda is not truth, the agenda is usefulness. Think about what this means for your sense of self. You believe you are the sum of your experiences. But you do not have access to most of your experiences. You have access to a heavily edited, emotionally weighted, novelty-biased highlight reel. Your identity is built on maybe 5% of what you actually lived through. The rest is gone, and the 5% that remains has been rewritten every time you thought about it. You are not who you were. You are who your brain decided you were. And it made that decision without asking you. There is an evolutionary logic to all of this. For most of human history, your ancestors did not need to remember what they ate 11 days ago. They needed to remember where the predator attacked, which berries made someone sick, and which strangers could be trusted. Survival memory is emotional, novel, and pattern-breaking. Everything else is noise. Your brain evolved to separate signal from noise at extraordinary speed because the ancestors who wasted cognitive resources on irrelevant details were slower to react when it mattered. They got eaten. You are descended from the ones who forgot efficiently, but you do not live in that world anymore. You live in a world where every day looks almost exactly like the last one. Same apartment, same route. Same screen, same meals. Your brain is running ancient deletion software in a modern environment that produces almost nothing worth flagging. The result is not just forgotten lunches. The result is a strange, creeping sense that time is accelerating, that years are vanishing, that you blinked, and a decade disappeared. You have felt this. Everyone over 30 has felt this, and now you know why. Your brain is not malfunctioning. It is doing its job. The problem is that your life is not giving it enough new data to keep. There are people who cannot forget. They have a condition called hyperthymesia, sometimes called highly superior autobiographical memory. Fewer than 100 people worldwide have been confirmed to have it. Ask them what happened on any random Tuesday in 2009, and they will tell you the weather, what they wore, what was on the news, and what they ate for dinner. Their brains do not delete. It sounds like a superpower. It is not. Researcher James McGaugh, the same scientist who studied emotional memory, was among the first to study these individuals. What he found was revealing. Many of them struggle with anxiety. They have difficulty letting go of painful experiences. They get stuck in loops of rumination because their brains will not allow the past to fade. Forgetting is not a failure of memory. Forgetting is a mercy. It is the mechanism that lets you move forward. Without it, every embarrassment, every loss, every regret stays as vivid as the day it happened. Forever. Your brain deletes most of your life because keeping it would destroy you. But there is something you can do with this knowledge. Not to fight the deletion, to work with it. If your brain keeps what is emotional, make more moments that matter. If your brain keeps what is novel, break more patterns. If your brain rewrites what you recall, Be careful which stories you keep telling yourself, because those are the ones that will calcify into your identity. You do not get to keep everything. No one does. But you get to influence what survives. Researchers at University College London found that people who actively engage with their experiences, who pay deliberate attention, who narrate moments to themselves as they happen, encode significantly stronger memories than passive observers of the same events. Attention is not automatic, it is a choice, and that choice determines whether a moment gets filed or gets erased. Right now, somewhere in your hippocampus, a triage is happening. Neurons are firing, comparing this moment against everything you already know, deciding if any of this is worth the energy of long-term storage. Most of what you have heard in the last few minutes will be gone by tomorrow. Some of it will last a week. A single sentence, maybe two, might survive for years. You do not get to choose which ones. But here is what you do get to choose. You get to choose how you live tomorrow, whether it looks exactly like today or whether it contains something your brain has never seen before. Something strange, something uncomfortable, something alive. Try to remember what you had for lunch 11 days ago. You can't. But you can decide what kind of day tomorrow becomes, the kind your brain deletes, or the kind it keeps.